show. I'm really excited to bring TJ Tijani to the show. He is someone that I've been following, listening to on Clubhouse. The reason why Clubhouse is so important is because it's a medium of meeting like-minded people and sort of giants in the industry, people that are real leaders, that kind of know what they're talking about, but not because they're just talking about it, but they walk the walk as well as talk the talk. So today we are going to talk about how he is walking the walk. TJ, welcome to the show.
Man, appreciate you so much. Thank you so much, Bart. I really appreciate you having me on and bringing me on to your audience from across the pond. It's all to the good.
Yeah. Look, we've got quite a few people from all over the world. Most people that are listening are in Australia. Roughly about 80% of our audience at the moment, but that is changing as we grow and as we expand ourselves. But yeah, look, it's interesting. Yesterday I was in a room and someone said, yes, we are so far apart, but we do share the same problems.
Absolutely. I like that. That's so true.
It's very true. So, look, how about you kick us off? Let us know who you are, a bit about your background in short-term rentals and what you're working on at the moment.
Absolutely. So I'm TJ Tijani. Thank you so much again, Bart. I am here in Houston, Texas, specifically here in the U.S. And my background is actually as an engineer. I graduated college with an engineering background, mechanical engineering degree, and I worked in the oil and gas industry for some time. Alongside that, and at the time, I thought that I was, being the first in my family to go to college, and I graduated with a degree. I thought that I was going to be the CEO, ride that corporate ladder all the way up, retire as an engineer. About a year into my engineering journey, I realized it wasn't necessarily for me, to be quite honest with you. Throughout college, I was always a hustler. I was always hustling. I was working 2 full-time jobs sometimes because I put myself through school. So at the same time, I think I just kind of knew that I had that entrepreneurship mindset, and I had that kind of spirit in me. And so I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, one of my fraternity brothers. He put me on that book. He said, man, I watched you hustle, man. I think you should read this book. It's great for entrepreneurs. And I read the book, and it was almost like the light bulb went off. And I was like, man, I want to own assets. I want to own properties. And so then I started investing in real estate on the side. Didn't know anything about short-term rentals. Wasn't even in the game in the short-term rentals at the time. It was more so long-term buy and hold real estate investing, as well as wholesaling. I was wholesaling deals. I was doing creative deals as well, owner finance deals, things like that. And as a consequence, and when the oil and gas market kind of took a hit come 2017, a lot of people were getting laid off. It actually started dipping down 2016. But once it kind of hit the fan and we realized that we didn't have enough projects to support the engineers and the company, they decided to downsize, and I would decide to take a severance package and bet on myself and go into real estate full time. Then on accident, I came across short-term rentals, and I tried it on my very first rental property. I've tried it on a property I had already owned. I was remodeling at the time, and I saw the potential. The very next day I had 2 bookings, and when I did the math, I realized that I was poised to more than quadruple what I would be making as a long-term buy and hold tenant with long-term buy and hold rentals. So I learned about short-term rentals, and I made a lot of mistakes. I didn't have it together at first. Made a whole lot of mistakes. I was consistently being rejected by landlords when I learned that I didn't have to own these properties. I didn't have systems. I was spending way too much time. Even with my one property, I felt like I was spending way too much time on my phone. Then I got educated, learned about systems, learned how I can outsource tasks, and learned how to properly position myself with landlords. And it was all she wrote after that. The business started scaling up, and I started building a portfolio of properties that I both own and rent to make these properties full-time short-term rentals. And I think after documenting my process for some time, and I'm now in a position where I can help others get to the short-term rental bag, as I like to say. So and it's been great ever since. I think that's the most fulfilling thing that I'm doing right now. So seeing other people become successful and creating amazing short-term rental entrepreneurs is where it's at for me.
Beautiful. I love that journey, and I think that when I interview guests on here, the most striking thing is that everyone's always hustling. Everyone's trying their best all the time to better themselves as humans and do more and achieve more. And had short-term rentals not existed, you just would have been doing the same thing but stuck with real estate and just been looking for opportunities. And I think that this was just one of those opportunities that seemed super obvious to you as you did it. And I'm sure that you would have done 101 other things along this journey. Absolutely. Right? It wasn't like, Absolutely. Oh, this is the one. And right now this is the one, but that doesn't mean it's this way forever either, right?
Right, exactly. I think that's very important to know, and I think that's a good point. Now, I think it's important for people to know to figure out what works for you, because all real estate strategies work. They all work. It's not a matter if they work, it's if you work, right? If and so I think a part of that process is also figuring out what works for you and what lines up and what tracks with your vision and your goals. And like you said, it could be one particular strategy now. It could not be that strategy later on. And you got to give yourself that permission to pivot and make that adjustment and give yourself permission to do that. Because if it works for you, then yeah, then go for it.
So tell me obviously in the short-term rental space, there's such a great opportunity to make money, but at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're creating experiences for people. Tell me about that side of your business and
Mhm.
how much importance that has to someone that's aspiring to join this space, and how much importance it has to you.
Yeah, I think it's very very important, and you got to be able to hit experiences on multiple front. Now, there's the experience of the type of experience the guests will have at your units in terms of functionality. Then there's the experience of what they're actually going to experience from a more monetary aesthetic standpoint, right? So for one, you have to understand that the guest experience doesn't start when they get into your units. It starts at your listing. How concise is your listing? How clear is it? Are you too wordy to where you're having these big paragraphs, or are you using what I like to call haymakers and having your description, your messages very concise with bullet points, incorporating that with maybe small paragraphs, but incorporating bullet points. How well are you using a professional photography, right? How clear is the instructions when people book with you? How clear, how concise is that check-in process? Do they have to continuously reach out to you to find directions and things like that? So the experience from the listing to actually get into the property, that's one. That's just one on itself. And then there's the experience of when they actually get there, right? When they actually get there, what was that process like? What is that process like logistically, right? What is that check-in process like? How do they access the unit? What is that parking situation like? Is it seamless? Was the directions concise? Were they able to follow it to the T easily at their unit when they get there? Then it pushes even further at the experience that they'll get at your unit there, right? Are the items that you have at your units easy, right? Do you have the items that you use as part of your tech stack, are they easy to use? Like for us, for example, we have TVs in every single room in our units, the living room and the bedrooms, because we know who we serve. We know that we serve a lot of folks that aren't going to be that mobile because for medical reasons. We know that we serve a lot of travel nurses. We know we serve families, and a lot of times they have kids and they love being entertained and being able to watch TV in the bedrooms and being comfortable. Things like we know who we serve, so we outline our units, outfit our units as such. But what is that experience like? Even the TVs that we use, is it the super simple? Are people having to reach out to you? Oh, how does the remote work? The thermostat that you use? Oh, how does the thermostat work? Things like that. So from a functionality standpoint, at your actual units, what is that experience like? So we need to make sure that we're attacking this whole conversation about experience, even from the beginning at the listing, all the way to the experience when they actually experience at your unit. Then there's the experience that you want to give just from an aesthetic standpoint, right? That's why I like to encourage people. If you have an opportunity, it doesn't have to be that complicated. Incorporate some type of uniqueness to your listing to stand out a little bit more. Maybe you can incorporate some type of theme. It doesn't have to be nothing crazy. I had a friend who bought this dope elephant centerpiece. And just from that centerpiece, he said, you know what, I'm just going to do like a safari kind of theme in here. He had this little safari theme, had a safari kind of photo backdrop wall with some dope wordings. He gave it a whole name. He has like one of the walls had wallpaper. It ended up coming out really, really nice. And it stood out. So now, do you have to theme your units to be profitable and make good money in this business? No, you don't. But does it kind of allow you to stand out a little bit? 100% yes, it does. So yeah, when we
Okay,
talk
so
about the guest experience,
this is
yeah.
I've got to jump in, TJ, because this is an interesting one and one that we haven't explored on this show at all. We're specialists in building websites, building branding, doing social media. The great thing with social media, and you do it all the time. You'll put up a post, and then you'll be like, oh, that one's not as successful as the next one, right? So you put up another one.
Yep.
And then you put up
Yep.
another one. You go, oh, these ones work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
With a
Absolutely.
website, I can do the same thing. A lot of A/B testing, right? I can go red button, blue button, whatever. If we're styling something, the evidence of it, so there's two things. One, how do we know whether it's going to work? Right? We go, all right, we're going to take this idea. I don't know if it's going to work. And then
Yeah.
even the second part of the question, which is really gonna cause problems, is even if it does work, how do we really know that it works? Because we don't have enough data points, right, to really know. People might leave you a review going, "Yeah, the elephant was great," but is it really making a difference? So maybe we'll dissect it. But first, I would really love to know in terms of that strategy, because I actually don't know myself. If I wanted to start and I wanted to do a theme to try to target a particular avatar, which is kind of obvious, right? What would, like, interior design magazines? Where do we start? Have you thought about this?
Yeah. I mean, and you can pull inspiration from anywhere, really. You can look at Interior Design Magazine. A lot of people use Pinterest as a resource to pull inspiration. And I think, kind of to your point, you will kind of know that, like you said, there's no way to really track how much it's working, right? But what people say about it, the fact that they actually use that photo wall and take pictures and they tag your business, the reviews that they put on your Facebook, your business page, or your on the OTAs, on the actual platforms, what they say about it. Oh, I love this, and when they highlight kind of specific things based on the theme, you kind of know is making an impact. Now, again, can you really track how much more bookings from a percentage standpoint than are you having versus not having the thing? No, not necessarily. Can't really track it. Maybe you can split test a unit if you have an apartment complex. Like, for example, we're doing a boutique hotel right now. If I themed one of the units that's identical to the other unit and I did not theme that unit, that'd be a good split test to run, and we can look at some numbers that way. But outside of that, it's no real way, no concrete way to know. But what we do know is that, themes stand out, and there's riches in the niches, that there's a reason why, brain surgeons make more money than general surgeons. It speaks to being a little bit niche down. Like a good friend of mine, he has units in Atlanta, and he did like this Barbie theme, like crazy. I mean, pink walls, pink couch. It's insane. People are like, you're going to turn away a lot of the folks who are, you're going to turn away a lot of those, a lot of guys probably won't book it and whatnot. But he's going to attract a lot of the people that have interest in it as well. So they're going to flood to it as well. So you got to look at it on both sides. And he stays booked. But in fact, he charges more for that 2-bedroom unit than he does at his other listings, because people desire it so much because of the uniqueness of it. So again, it's here and there, but for folks who go in on these themes, they're definitely seeing it pay off for sure.
And it's different. So you're really well positioned for this. When we think about real estate, like actually selling property, then we bland colors, right, or very neutral. We don't want to overpower because we're trying to actually appeal to a much larger market. I imagine that the bespoke properties or premium might be a little bit more niched as well, just going, hey, this is actually appealing to this kind of thing. But generally, the wall is always white, right? White, black with a few feature pieces, and it's always the same thing. You're not going to paint all the walls pink and then try to sell the property. However, in this particular industry, you can get away with doing it because there's a much broader market that you can appeal to.
Yeah.
Right. So
Absolutely.
there's millions. You can choose any of millions of people that can stay with you.
Absolutely.
If you're selling property, you just don't have that big a marketplace to work with.
And to that point, you sell the property, you're selling that asset to that one customer base, and they very well could not like that pink wall 100%. But the good thing about what we do in the short-term rental space, we're not creating a product and selling that product. We're creating a product and continuously selling the use of that product, giving the opportunity for multiple people to experience it and to see and find out that they actually like that scheme or that theme or whatever the case may be, and allowing them to take advantage of it.
So I'm really going to push you around today, TJ. I'm going to make you work for your money that I'm not paying you, but this is a great topic, and there's a boom in big brand hotels that are getting into the short-term rental space at the moment all over the world. And they're trying to do all sorts of things. There's one over here. They're going into sort of the boutique, high-end level short-term rentals. It seems to me like, obvious, but also easy. Like it's a bit of a no-brainer. Of course, it's going to work. You just got to make sure your numbers are correct and you're providing a product. But all of this kind of stuff where you can create unique themes and create unique experiences through that kind of brand. With the hotel, you said you're doing your own boutique hotel, and do you have any feelings on what those big brands could be doing differently, or what they could kind of push towards?
Oh man, like you said, with them getting into it, it would seem like a pretty easy pivot. I do know that there's rumors of big brands like Marriott here in the U.S. that are looking to create, not only like take advantage from listing standpoint and getting guests that way from a short-term rental standpoint, but also creating their own short-term rental platform to where people can list their property on their platform as well. Which they have a big brand, and you go on Marriott.com right now, you can book all their hotels. So it kind of seems like another easy pivot for people like myself and have normal properties and mountaintop properties and beach properties and normal residential neighborhoods like the listings I have, apartment complexes. You can list them on their platform. I know that that's kind of a push. That's one particular brand I heard is doing that. We'll see if that happens, but I do believe that if they do that and they see that it works, then it's probably not going to take long for other big brands to follow suit. So we'll see how it goes. But I think that regardless, there's still a quite huge uniqueness about us and what we do in our space that versus hotels, right? So we're still pretty niche. We provide a totally different experience. And I think that people still see a lot of value, and people will continuously see value in properties that like this. That's why even uniqueness can be a great thing. Having properties that are even bigger, and the ways that you set it up and the ways that you furnish it, the uniqueness about it. I think we're still going to have quite an amazing competitive advantage to still garner a lot of bookings, and not only that, but still build a brand in the process. I think that's another thing that people need to focus on, is not just be relying on these OTAs, right? Not succumbing ourselves to more so a single point of failure to where we're only relying on VRBO, only Booking.com and Airbnb for all of our bookings, which they are amazing. Trust me, we love them. They are amazing, but they should not be the end all be all. I think if you're looking to be in this business for the long haul, long term, you need to also be focused on building your own brand, and that goes by way of direct bookings. You need to have systems for that as well. So I know I answered the question, but I kind of turned a little bit, but however we can go back to however you want to go. But yeah,
look,
that's
I think I think the direct booking topic is incredibly important in building out that brand. I think that there's two things going on. So us as a company, when we first started, we understood that the brands that exist that aren't hotels are basically bed and breakfasts, right? So they're very well understood that it's Mary's bed and breakfast and blah location. She's already got her brand. She's already got people that are loyal to her. She's in the local area. People know that she does what she does. So you've got that built up. As a property management business, building up a brand is a lot more difficult, and actually something that's dramatically misunderstood as to how to do it and what you're doing. And it's a completely different kettle of fish, because what most property management companies do is they go, you know what, I'm going to make my own OTA with my properties. So basically you go on there, all my properties are listed on there, and then people have got no reason to book with you because a brand doesn't mean anything. So that's a really interesting one, is how do you make a property management business into a brand to get a consumer to book direct? Have you had much thought on that yet? Where are you at in that journey?
Oh man, I think it's very the way we see the brand, the way I kind of see the brand is focused on direct to consumer, right? I love what you said about, that's an interesting angle to create your own OTA, to create your own platform, to have, and you're essentially building a brand as a property management company. I think there's two different things. Building a brand as a property management company from a business perspective to grow the business, right? And then there's building the brand to grow your business to a consumer, and you're building the brand as the place to book, right, from a consumer standpoint. So two totally different brands, and I think both are vital. Both are very important, and both are important, especially from a property management perspective, because for me, My business is more so predicated on the amount of assets that I purchase and the amount of leases that I take down. Now, on the property management side, it is important to focus and build that brand as well. Like you said, that's a tough brand to build, but you can definitely build that brand, create your own OTA, and that way people can actually list with you and you can manage it for them. That's a good route to go. But that's a brand that can be built. It just takes time, it takes effort, and I think that's one thing that all people also have to consider, especially on the co-hosting side, right? To build that brand to where you have more opportunities for people to work with you. But on our end, we can still use that type of brand to still grow our business in a sense, because then even if we're doing rental arbitrage, it's still going to expand the brand for people to want to bring more opportunities our way. But at the same time, for us right now, we are in a place to where my brand is kind of myself, right? The rentpreneur, you see, it's the whole thing, and everybody kind of knows what I do, and I let it be known what I do, and it's been a lot of opportunities that's came my way to really grow my business from an arbitrage perspective and from an ownership perspective as well. Great opportunity to grow my business that way. So right now, our brand, what we're focused on is direct bookings. How is it that we can convert, going from 100% OTAs to where we are shifting that pendulum to where a lot of our bookings are coming direct and building that brand that way. Like, for example, we're building this boutique hotel. It's just 10 minutes away from probably the biggest medical center in the nation. And the hospitals around there, and they're all already very excited, even though we're not going to launch it to next year because we're doing a full gut remodel on it. They're already very excited about it. And, that's more brand awareness. So things like that is what we're most so focused on.
Yeah. And I think that what you've identified there is that brand is appealing to a certain niche, right? It's just what needs to happen is you need to appeal to that particular niche.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious to see where you get to in that space, and definitely something that I can add value to as well. And we do that time and time again, looking at different structures and different properties and going, what is it that makes you unique? Why is someone going to choose to book with you directly rather than using an online travel agent? Like, what are the triggers? And one of the things that most people kind of say, oh, it's because of price, we'll make it less expensive. And whatever you do not do that. That is not the reason why people will book directly. They're going to book directly because, one, you've got a better level of service, or you've got extra bells and whistles that they get from booking direct, because there might be some sort of a loyalty program, or because the experience is just really good doing it that way, and getting those repeat customers to come back and book direct is a no-brainer. So that sort of thing. So are you, for this boutique hotel, obviously that brand is going to be super important to set up and to get all of that sales funnel working for you. Have you done the whole branding journey yet, or where are you at with that? I'm curious.
Oh, sure. We are still just about to start the project. Well, we purchased it, but we're just about to start the remodel on it. I'm still thinking of a name, so I'm still focused on a name to really build that brand of boutique hotels. So I'm focused on building that brand as well. But for us, on the brand to where we're just discussing to garner those direct bookings and building the short-term rental hospitality company as a whole, that we are definitely making great stride in. I think what's important to understand is that you have to be both the offensive, you have to excel both offensive and defensively to build that brand on that side. And offensively, what I mean is you got to be able to go out and build these relationships. Think about who you're serving. Think about who would be able to book with you directly, whether it's these hospitals, whether it's the nurses and the doctors and the patients that come to these hospitals that are able to book direct with you. You're building those relationships with the travel agencies, and they can book with you direct, being one of the preferred spots. Think about insurance companies, right? Because they always need places, temporary housing for their clients that have filed claims. Things like that you got to be doing on the offensive, building those relationships. On the defense is you have to make sure in your business itself, the business model that you have, this is why the value is in the business model, not so much the fact that you're putting your property on AirBNB or Booking.com or VRBO. The value is in the business model that you set up. And I think a good business model would be one that has systems set up to where you're one collecting guest information. And I'm not talking about every guest that books with you. I'm talking about every guest that stepped foot in your property, because somebody can book with you, but it's 10 people on the reservation. You need to have every single one of their email addresses and their information. That way you can retarget them. That way you can hit them up. For us, we have our campaign retargets our guests for 11 months, and they get an email every single month, and it's fully automated. Right, we are continuously keeping them abreast on how we growing our business. We continuously letting them know, like, hey, looking forward to you booking back with us. Book with us direct next time. And here's a 15% off coupon, and you get to save the additional 14% off on the fees. So giving them more incentive to book with us direct. And here's a loyalty program, and here's how many points you get, or here's how many stays you need total to get a free stay with us. Because being consistent and literally being relentless and consistent adding this into your systems, into your business model, and being consistent with it, you'll find that as time goes, a lot of your bookings are going to be coming from the OTAs. You're going to start seeing that your account is being filled up by bookings that are coming direct through your website. And so that is what more so we're talking about. I think that's important to understand when you think about direct bookings and building a brand, for sure.
TJ, our time has come to a close. I really appreciate you jumping in, coming in, and sort of smashing out massive amounts of value in a very short amount of time. I think that the great thing for the audience is that TJ's advice comes from a place of true experience of doing a lot of these things. And I think that the great thing about him is he's humble enough to go say, I don't have absolutely all the answers, but this is how I've done it. And this is what works for me, and this is what could potentially work for you. Have a look at these things. Have a look at these things. I can map everything out for you, but it's all about empowering people, and I can really get that sense of that's where you are and where you want to go. I want to thank you for joining us on this episode. Thank you so much. Before we wrap up, is there anything that our community can do for you?
Oh shoot! I mean, just tap in with me. I'm heavy on social media, especially Instagram. I just got a TikTok, so y'all be patient with me on that. You'll see me on there as well. But definitely tap with me on Instagram. It's at TJ Tijani. That's at TJ Tijani. And when you talk about this at my masterclass, I'm going to be having a masterclass, and definitely tap in with the link in my bio. The next one's going to be this Thursday. Or actually every Thursday. We're going to be doing them every Thursday. So definitely tap in. We're going to be talking a lot about arbitrage. We're also going to be talking about how we like to purchase our properties with no money. So definitely tap in with me on that as well, or just simply give me a follow and get these gems as I post them.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, TJ. I really appreciate it. We'll catch you around.
No problem, Bart. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you having me.